For more on this, we're now joined by Sishuba Mbonde. He is the Regional Deputy Secretary at the Thabo Moshweshwe region for the National Education, Health and Allied Workers Union, and also the Executive Director of Human Resources from the University, Nandipha Sishuba. And they both join us for this discussion via our video link. Good evening to you both. And I'm going to start off with you, Sishuba. So, I mean, it seems as if you are not backing down here when it comes to the demands you have laid on the table for the university. Sishuba, so could you please unmute yourself? You are still on mute.
All right, sorry. Good evening to you, and good evening to your viewers. Indeed, the union has taken a mandate from the workers because we work with the mandate, and the workers have mandated us in this regard that we must engage on this action up until there is a settlement agreement, up until our demands are met, and we are actually now engaging in that particular protected action.
And Nandipha, of course, Nandipha speaks for the Nelson Mandela University. She's also the Executive Director and Human Resources, Nandipha Sishuba. When it comes to these demands, Nandipha, why does it seem as if the university says that, you know, there is simply no money to pay the workers the salary increase they are demanding for? Seems as if we have lost. Nandipha, can you hear us?
For the opportunity, I can't hear you.
Okay, you can go ahead, ma'am. Oh, Nandipha, we are unfortunately struggling to hear you, but we'll come back to you just to try and re-establish your line. Let's continue with the conversation then, Sishuba. So when it comes to these demands you have made to the University of, well, the Nelson Mandela University in that regard, you know, would you say that this attitude from the workers, or rather from the university, it seems as if the university is not willing to meet you halfway here?
Definitely, you're quite correct. Remember, we are a responsible union. We are where we are now because we have tried everything on the table to persuade the university to engage us in good faith. But unfortunately, that had then not happened. We have started with these negotiations because these are 2023, 2024, and that should have been implemented last year. We have started internally engaging as parties. That failed, and the CCMA came to the party to try assist both parties to come closer to each other. Initially, our demand was 10%, and the university was offering us CPI at the time, which is 6.9. But we, from our own side, as workers, we have then taken a fallback position. We are at 8%, and the university has never moved an inch. They are still standing at 6.9 as they were at the beginning of the negotiations. Therefore, we have tried in vain to persuade the university to come to the table. What we have then did last week, we have requested a meeting with the executive of the university outside the bargaining process to say, look, we are now at this stage. The wheels are rolling. We are going on a full-blown strike, but our door is open. Whenever you wish to engage us, we are willing. But also that fell into deaf ears. That's why then you do find us that today we have then begun with our action in earnest, and we are pushing ahead up until the demands of the workers are met. We are quite clear without any ambiguity that the demands of the workers are reasonable, and the university is just not coming to the party. They are not negotiating in good faith, but we are intensifying our action.
And why not accept this 6.9% increase? I mean, initially you did ask for 10%, and the university has given you 6.9%. And essentially what you are really asking for is just 1.1% extra when it comes to their demands. Why not accept this 6.9%?
I think just to come back there is that our initial demand was 10%, which then would amount to a 3.1. But because we understand that we are on the negotiation tables, we are persuading and we are able to be persuaded. It is then therefore for that reason that we have moved from the initial 10 and we moved to the 8, thinking that the university would then, because we have moved 2% down, the university will probably be able to move a 1.1% up, but seemingly the university is not interested in moving at all. I think one of the reasons that we felt it is time for us to defend collective bargaining. It might be that in the previous years we have never engaged the university head-on in the action of this nature, and therefore it is then a clear message to the university that the demands of the workers must then be taken seriously.
How would you characterize these negotiations when it comes to how you have negotiated with the university?
From our own side, we have gone into these negotiations in good spirits. We have negotiated in good faith, but we have realized that the university doesn't seem to take us seriously. And therefore, once that attitude is then being displayed, you are then likely to be met with the very same attitude that you are displaying. So we have at times gone to CCMA, and the university would not even bother to pitch. And if then the university is giving that attitude to us, then it is a matter of power struggle, and we are now on the picketing lines. We are intensifying our struggles. Our members are out in full force. We got support. Solidarity support from student movement. We are forging ahead up until the university comes to the table and we have a settled agreement. But we have told the university that our lines are open. Whenever they want us to talk, we are ready to do so.
Are you not concerned when it comes to the disruptions of the operation of the Nelson Mandela University if you continue with this full-blown strike?
We are a responsible union, hence we have met with the student formations to explain our situation, how did we end up in this point, for them to understand that whatever destruction that may be caused by this strike, it is not our own doing. It is by the attitude of this university. And they have even shared their own frustrations with us, that they are also frustrated by this university as we are frustrated. It is not our intent to disrupt services, but we are within the prescript of the law in terms of lawfully so engaging in a protected strike, and withdraw our labor power in order for the university to at least come closer to us. Then we're able to come into the negotiation table in good faith, negotiate, and in the negotiation table parties persuade each other, then a settled agreement is reached. Hence, we have gone to meet the executive on the 21st to say, look, this is where we are. We have served you now with the strike notice. We are going to start in 5 days' time, but we allow you this 5 days to engage ourselves, to engage us, so that we are able to resolve this dispute. But the university has shown the very same attitude, not interested. So definitely that's where we are. We can hear now they want to run to the courts, but we are quite confident that the action that we're embarking on is going to bear fruits for the workers.
And, are you willing to go back to the negotiation table? Should the institution say, look, let's talk some more and let's try and find a resolution to this problem? Are you willing to go back to the negotiation table?
Very much willing, as I've said initially, that there is a bargaining process which we have embarked on. But outside that bargaining process, we have requested an ear to speak to the executive, to say to the executive of the university on the 21st of February, we have served you with this strike notice. We have already started with the lunch hour picketings. We think that it is time to talk because the wheels are rolling already. We are definitely going on this strike. We have said to them we are willing to talk. Even if they want to call us on a weekend, we are available. We have said to them we are willing to engage them. If we start to engage on a Friday, are willing to finish engaging on a Saturday, as long as we are going to come out of that particular engagement, at least with a draft settlement agreement, which we can take back to workers and say to the workers, having engaged with the university, this is what the university is now putting on the table. But seemingly the university is not moving an inch. So with that attitude, we are also now taking the university head on.
All right, Sishuba, thank you so much for your time. That is Sishuba Mbonde. He is the Regional Deputy Secretary at the Thabo Moshweshe region for the National Education, Health and Allied Workers Union. And unfortunately, we also lost the Nelson Mandela University Executive Director of Human Resources, Nandipha Sishuba. She was expected to respond to some of the issues here being raised by NMU. Well, let's go back to one of our top stories for today. And workers affiliated to the National Education, Health and Allied Workers Union at Nelson Mandela University have embarked on a full-blown strike over unresolved salary negotiations. And for more on this, we're now joined by Nelson Mandela University Executive Director of Human Resources, Nandipha Sishuba. She joins us via our video link. Nandipha, thank you so much for joining us once again. And I hope this time around that your line will be able to hold. How do you respond to some of those demands being made by NMU?
Thank you so much for the opportunity to reflect on this matter. The salary and wage negotiations for the financial year 2023-2024 were concluded, and except for NMU, who then declared a dispute. And our response as a university to the demands of the unions were informed by balancing, running our operations and also, affordability, and also an understanding that at least we appreciate that the CPI, it is where it was at the particular point, and that given our fiscal outlook and understanding that the workers also have got to live within a decent means, we then offered the percentage that we have offered, which was then accepted by one union. NMU, of course, exercised their right and declared a dispute. And we went to the CCMA. We couldn't conciliate. The university was very transparent and opened its books for the union and engaged on what is affordable. So our offer as the university balanced that we've got to meet the obligations of our operations, understand that the workers have got to get a decent salary and a decent increase, and that was what informed our offer.
And of course, your offer, Nandipha, being that 6.9%, NMU was saying they've moved from the initial 10% and have gone down to 8%. So essentially what they are really asking for is 1.1%. Do you think that this is a ridiculous demand from their side?
I wouldn't use the word ridiculous. I think their demand is informed by their material conditions, and therefore we cannot invalidate them to be ridiculous demand. They are valid demands, and the university considered them to be valid. Hence, the university pushed to provide the 6.9%, which ordinarily, was squeezing in terms of the financial balancing of operations, as well as defending the academic project, as also, of course, defending what the workers are looking for. So management had to really create a fine balance, in terms of all the demands that require the same pot of funding, and make sure that we do provide workers with a decent salary increase, which was on par with what the sector was offering in the last season of wage and salary negotiations.
And the union says, you have not moved since, your offer to the workers, and they've at least tried to at least meet you halfway. Why not grant them this extra 1.1%?
Yes, I think the union might see it as not moving. I think as a university, from the word go, we put on the table what was affordable, and in fact, as a university, when we engaged in these negotiations with the workers, we were very transparent, and we did not want to have an offer just for the sake of wanting to be seen to be moving. We presented all that we had because we were genuine and authentic in terms of what the university can afford. We were not of the view that for us to demonstrate a movement, we then need to start maybe at 5% and then move to 6.9% as a means of demonstrating a move. We put all that we had on the table, and we thought that the workers would appreciate that. And when we articulated our financials with the workers, even in the bilaterals that were put on were arranged to really interrogate in a very transparent manner, what is affordable for the university, and Nehao didn't really take up the opening of the books, so that in a transparent way they know what is affordable as a university. So yes, I accept that they see it as a lack of movement, but as a university we see it as an authentic display of what was affordable, and do not engage in protracted negotiating, creating shifts that are really, we know that where we can land.
And if you do not find each other during these negotiations, what does this mean for the university?
We are not intending not to find each other. I think it is the nature and the character of negotiations that parties will persuade and influence each other, to reach a particular consensus. Therefore, we, as the management of the university, we are very much open to ongoing conversation and connection with the unions, and trying to show the unions what it means for us in terms of the viability of the university, in terms of understanding that the workers, in terms of their side, of course, the medical aid is increasing, the inflation is increasing, but also the cost of doing business for the university is also increasing. The impact of the load shedding, in terms of the fiscus of the university. So at the end of the day, we are balancing, carrying on with our operations, balancing our ability to pay our operating costs, including the salaries of the workers. So as management, we've got to make sure that we are able to afford a decent increase. We are able to afford to service our operations. We are able to deal with the demands that have been put upon the university as the result of load shedding. So all those demands they require the same pot of funding. We do know that the profile of our students, for an example, is a profile of students that are dependent on NSFAS, and therefore the income from fees is not as much as we would have loved to see it. Therefore, we have to balance all those variables as the employer, and don't see only on one side of the variables, and try and create a win-win situation for the overall operations of the university.
Nandipha, thank you so much for your time this evening. Really do appreciate it. That is Nandipha Sishuba. She is the Nelson Mandela University Executive Director for Human Resources.